Hello, third grade, and welcome to our reading skill for today. Today we're doing figurative language. Now remember that figurative language is language that means something different than it says. We looked at some different types of figurative language like idioms. We also looked at two alliteration and hyperboles. Now alliteration is when you have words that have the same beginning sound. Let's add that to our chart. Same beginning sound. A hyperbole is an exaggeration. So an example of a hyperbole might be something like, we waited in line all day, when you probably just waited for a long time. It means something different than what it says. Today we're going to be learning about metaphors, onomatopoeia, and similes. Let's go ahead and begin. Now we're first going to start with similes and metaphors because they are very similar except for a couple of words. So metaphors compare two things using the words is, or, and are. Similes also compare two things, but they use like, or as. Some examples are he is as fast as a rabbit. A metaphor, her smile is the sun. Let's go ahead and write out the definitions inside our class kick. So a metaphor, we're going to write this in caps because this is the most important part. Compares two things using is, or. Sorry, I just realized it might not be showing all the way. There we go. Is, or our. Put commas between those. Go ahead, pause the video if you need to write that down. A metaphor. And we'll write an example below. So remember, figurative language means something different than it says. So if I said, so my cat's name is Romo. Romo is a cat. I used is, but this is not a metaphor because it means exactly what it says. Romo is a cat. But if I said Romo is a human, my cat is not a human, but maybe he does things that makes me think that he's a human. He sits up kind of looking like a human. He talks back when I go meow, he'll go meow right back. So that would be a metaphor using figurative language. And similes, we also compare two things, but we use like and as. Yeah, I'm going to reword this because it's is or our. And like or as. So an example of a simile might be she is as tall as a giraffe. I'm comparing she to the height of a giraffe. Here I'm comparing Romo to a human. I'm comparing two things. We're going to do a quick practice at identifying the two things we're comparing and that it is a metaphor and what the literal meaning is. What is it actually telling us? What's the meaning behind the words? So we're going to start on this side. I am a bear. I am a bear. What do you think that could mean? Think about bears' personalities, and he's probably not actually a bear. He probably just compares himself to a bear. Now, I know that bears hibernate and they normally sleep a lot, so the literal meaning might mean that he sleeps a lot. Ted is a lion. He's not actually a lion, but I know lions are very brave and cunning. So maybe he's comparing himself to a lion because Ted is brave. And finally, Kenneth is a bull in a china shop. Maybe you've heard that before. So bulls are not very agile and they're very large. So that might mean that Kenneth is clumsy. Now, similes would have the same meaning, so we're not going to write those down. But you can highlight that they use as, remember like or as for simile, or like inside each one of their examples. Looks like Miss Tingley wrote something wrong, so we're going to fix it together. So I want you to cross out comparing two things using is or are. And there's different forms of those. Am, is, or are. For our practice with similes and metaphors, we are reading postcards from the Olympics, and we're changing similes to metaphors and metaphors to similes. But first, we have to identify them inside the postcards. We will do two together, and the other you will do on your own. Let's go ahead and begin. Make sure you can see the whole thing. There you go. It says, Dear Paul, today we attended the 4x400 meter relay. Angelo Taylor ran like a rocket, sprinting around the track. The U.S. team won the gold medal. We are having a wonderful time. All right, so I'm going to make a little key at the top to help me and to help you out. That metaphors use is or are, and similes use like or as. So I saw one of these keywords here, so I want you to highlight it along with me. I saw like. And the two things that they're comparing is Angelo Taylor ran like a rocket. They're comparing Angelo Taylor to a rocket. Well, now we have to change that into a metaphor. We're just going to write that one sentence. So instead of using like, I can use is or are. So type this out along with me. Angelo Taylor ran was a rocket. Sprinting around the track. So different forms of are am, was, and were. Those are ones that you may also see in there. Once you have this typed out, we can move on to the next one. So we have to decide if it's a simile or a metaphor and then change it to the other one. Dear Susan, you would have loved watching the gymnastics competition today. Nastya Luikin was a monkey, swinging effortlessly from one bar to another. She won a gold medal in the all-around competition. So I see one of those keywords, one of the forms of are. See, was. She was a monkey. They're comparing Nastya Luikin to a monkey. So now I can change it. It is a metaphor. And I can change it into a simile by instead using was, use like or as. So Nastya Luikin is like a monkey. Oh, sorry, my computer's being funky. There we go. Nastya. There we go. Thinking is like a monkey. That word like makes it a simile. For the bottom two, you will complete on your own, and make sure you watch the next video about onomatopoeia.